dread in his stomach. Not something he was accustomed to feeling. He was Nash, Duke of Malvern, naked sleeper determined to do what he wanted when he wanted. Always. That he was also determined to do right by his responsibilities, no matter how much he chafed at them, was likely why he had that dread. It was clear the Dowager Duchess was here on a matter of some importance, since he hadn't seen her in at least 10 years. His father had cut off visits from all respectable members of his family, effectively isolating Nash from anyone who might not be a complete reprobate. Had she heard about his work assisting his father's bastards? It was the least he could do, given how many lives his father had ruined. Hopefully she didn't know his butler was also his half-brother. Actually, he didn't care if she knew. It was the right thing to do, along with only inflicting his temper on bullies. Why else would she be here, though? He couldn't imagine anything that would bring any of his family members into willing contact with him. His father had burned all the family bridges, and Nash saw no need to rebuild them. If they wanted to know him, they would have to take him as he was. Well, he wouldn't find out the answers to any of his questions by staying here. 15 minutes later, Nash was dressed, nearly appropriately, though he'd refused to put on a cravat, despite Finnan's pleading looks. "Your Grace," he said as he walked into the blue salon. He rarely used this room, much preferring his library, which had a sofa made especially for his long frame. The sofa here was more of a love seat, which would be fine for 2 people of average height to sit on, but not for someone of Nash's size. The Dowager Duchess was seated primly on the love seat, her equally prim maid standing behind her. The poking cane leaned against the leg of the sofa, inches away from the Dowager Duchess's hand. Both ladies managed to look down their noses at him, despite their height differential. Remarkable feat. He hadn't gotten a good look at her when she'd been in his bedroom, what with her running away at the sight of his naked chest and all. But now he could see the resemblance to his father. Both of them had strong cheekbones, dark brown eyes, and a general look of hauteur. A resemblance he knew he shared, unfortunately. Unlike his father, however, his grandmother was slight, with grey hair pulled away from her face and fastened on the top of her head with an enormous bow. Her eyes looked keenly intelligent, and held a cordial warmth he had certainly never seen from his father. He found himself regretting, for just a moment, not wrapping a hell-cloth around his neck. "Your Grace," the Dowager Duchess said, inclining her head a fraction, "I have been remiss in not coming to see you." "Perhaps because I haven't extended an invitation," Nash cut in. It was best to let her know who he was as soon as possible. That way she wouldn't be disappointed later on. She sniffed. Apparently made of strong stuff, his grandmother. A tiny part of him had to respect that. "But I am here now, and I have some urgent business to discuss." Well, he knew that already, else why would she have come? He crossed his arms over his chest and waited, bracing himself for her disapproval. "Sit down." She spoke as though there was no possibility of his not doing as she commanded. So he sat, holding his breath as he lowered himself onto the chair that matched the love seat. It only creaked a little, and he gripped the armrests in a futile attempt at controlling whether or not it collapsed. Perhaps he should redecorate. He had taken possession of the townhouse after his father died 3 years ago, but hadn't bothered to change anything, even though he disliked most of it. It felt like another ducal duty, which he loathed. Of course, he discharged his responsibilities. He wasn't like his father, ignoring everything except that which brought him pleasure, but he didn't do the superficial things like attend parties or be seen in the most fashionable parts of town engaging in frivolous activities. Could that be why she was here? And if that was so, why hadn't she come when her son had died? Why was he just seeing her now? His last memory of her must have been from when he was about 10 years old, not long after his mother left. He'd been too confused.